How to find love without playing games. I know everyone knows love and games, games and love. They're always together. They're always coinciding together. Why is that? Well, they don't have to be. They really do not have to be. And today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 5 important factors, 5 important questions to think about if you're serious about looking for love without playing games. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. My name is Coach Andres, head coach of Alexander Cormont at the French Relationship Expert. And today we're going to discuss 5 important questions to really factor in and think about yourself before you're looking for love. Because if you're going to look for love unprepared, without some direction, it's going to be a game that's not fun for anyone. So before we get started, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button. I'd love to hit the like button and leave any comment or questions during this video. I would love to hear your input. So let's get started. How to find love without playing games takes work. It takes self-awareness and it takes honesty. But the thing is, the problem is most people don't want to put in the work. They believe the fairy tales. They believe the romantic comedies. You complete me scenes in the movies of love just falls on your lap, right? No. It happens once in a blue moon. Don't get me wrong. And I'm an optimist. And I love those stories. I love those movies. But I want to give you something more realistic. I want to give you something more practical, something that gets you and set up for the best opportunity to find what's best for you. So outside of putting the work into someone about really understanding who they are they self-aware of who they are and more importantly, who they're not? And that takes a lot of just self-evaluation, a self-reflection of understanding who they are, to be self-evaluating, to know exactly what they're worth, So outside of the work, outside of the self-awareness, the honesty. Are we honest with ourselves? Are we truly at a place where we can be critical to one's own flaws and insecurities and own that? Embrace our imperfections. Be aware of those things because those things are playing a huge role in confusing what you are and confusing what you're looking for. And the idea is to bring more clarity to the table, again, which takes work. I believe that it's going to take even more work if you don't know what you're looking for. It's going to take even more work if you're trying to date without direction, if you're trying to date without intention, if you're trying to date without standards. You see, regardless of your desire and love, it's going to take work, either prepared or unprepared. Taking the time to really set yourself up for the best chances, for the best opportunities when you're looking for love, or let's just go with the flow and play it casual and spiral around and keep on going towards the same habits, the same insecurities, the same issues, the same arguments, the same attractive person and wondering why it doesn't work out. So you tell me, which one would you prefer? Put in a little work in the beginning to give yourself some clarity, give yourself some direction on where you're going and what you're looking for, or find that stressful, headache, annoying work that's going to be somewhat games related of who said what and why, who has the upper hand, ego, pride, stubbornness, and then just spiral around into that world of unhealthy, toxic relationships. That's going to take a lot of work, actually. I think I'd rather go with a little bit of work ahead of time before hitting this tornado of love. So, that being said, we're going to go over 5 important factors of questions to factor in yourself when looking for love without playing games. But before we get started, please, again, hit that subscribe button. I would love to get a big thank you, like, and if you can, any comments, because I would love, again, to hear your input. You ready? Okay. Number 1. Do you know yourself? Oh, yeah, of course I know myself. I know I'm this way and I know I'm that way. Oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, we're done then. There you go. Thank you for watching. No. Do you know yourself? Do you know your value? We have to go a little deeper than just knowing the exterior or knowing the comfortable things that you do. Do you know who you are and what you're looking at? Do you understand where you're at in your life? For example, understanding your truth about your strengths and weaknesses is paramount in finding emotional compatibility. That's a part of knowing your value, knowing who you are. Knowing where you're at in your life and knowing what you're looking for is by far the best first step into pursuing someone. Are you looking for a serious relationship? Are you looking for marriage and kids? Are you looking for something fun and casual? Did you just get out of a relationship? Because if you did, I'd recommend this is the time to be healing and not necessarily dating. So when you know what you're really looking for, you're really going to set yourself up for not just the values you have for yourself, but looking for the same values in someone else. So you want to match up exactly where you're at in life. If you're looking for something casual, don't expect something serious from someone. If you're looking for something serious from someone, don't approach it so casually. Again, just bringing more clarity and more truth to knowing who you are, knowing where you're at in life. Knowing who you are and knowing your value is part of the work. And those are rare times because you've taken the time to understand what you're looking for. Because it's rare that people actually want to do that to themselves, to self-evaluate themselves. Most people want to date to replace, or date to repeat a feeling of companionship, but they don't really take the time to really grasp why certain things didn't work out. How could I take responsibility of the past relationship, regardless, right or wrong? But how can I better myself? How can I learn from those past experiences? Again, knowing your value. If you're just dating to repeat and let's say replace that feeling of companionship, that's going to cloud the mind in the sense of always comparing old feelings to new ones. It's always going to be truly in a place where you're never moving forward in the love department. You're just going in circles again, wondering, why do I always attract the same type of guy? Because you haven't taken the time to work on yourself. And you're just literally projecting the same level of type of guy that you're looking for. The party guy who I know I could turn into a good guy. The good guy who I'm ready to turn into a party guy. You're not turning anyone to anything. Turn yourself into what you believe who you want to be. And that again takes knowing yourself, takes knowing your value, takes work. All right? Knowing your place in life gives your value clarity. So you don't waste your time. You don't waste your feelings. You don't self-sabotage the relationship. Or more importantly, you don't settle for less because you've taken the time, you put in the work to understand exactly who you are, developing and defining your value. Do you know yourself? Number 2, what is your love language? Love language. What does that even mean? Well, there is a language of love, and you want to learn it. Trust me. If you're trying to look for love and can't speak the language, then you're really not setting yourself up for the best opportunity to find it. It's a language that has 5 foundational pillars to bond with someone else in a way that's not so clearly spoken. It's a language of love, and there's 5 examples of that. You can easily go online and Google it and take a free quiz to understand exactly what language you speak the most often. What's the most valuable language that you love to see in someone else? There's 5 examples of love language. Number 1 would be words of affirmation. You love to know those I miss you, good night, good morning, thinking of you, complimentary comments, those words of just, wow, I can't believe she said that. She really does think of me this way. She is proud of me. You love that. And you love to give that. So more of just understanding what you like, you'll understand what you love to give. Number 2 would be acts of service. Not necessarily anything so extreme of building someone a house, but it's more about, hey, I know she loves my blueberry pancakes, so I'm going to go make her some. Well, you know what? Her car was kind of dirty with an empty tank. Let me go surprise her with a nice full tank and a clean car. Those small little gestures that go a long way. They really make you think of someone. I didn't get to see him today, but man, look how clean my car is. I love the fact that he thinks of me that way. Acts of service. A third example of language of love is receiving gifts. Again, those go from the range of making breakfast as a gift, or let's say something fancy like a necklace or a pair of earrings. Though it's all about the intention behind the gift, not necessarily the price or the fancy level of superficial materialistic things. It's about the thought, thinking of someone when you weren't planning on it, just kind of saying, hey, I saw this on the mannequin and man, that'll look great on her. Or I know he kind of likes this and he hasn't seen one of these in a long time. Let me go grab one of those for him. Surprise him with this. Those little moments of acts of service go a long way. The other one would be quality time. And that's kind of where you understand the quantity of time is not realistic because schedules interrupt each other. Everyone's got their own crazy independent schedules of work or family or personal obligations that they can't take the time to always be there together. So they value the quality time together compared to the quantity time. And the last one would be physical touch. That's more of saying, I know I'm not going to see you every day as well as quality time, but when I'm with you, I love, holding your hand. I love waking up next to you in that, cuddling position. Just that touch reassures all of my doubts and insecurities in a way. It makes me feel more in love with you in a way. So those things of love languages are big because it connects the dots between two people who don't speak the same language, because men and women do speak different languages. The man from Mars, women from Venus, we all know that metaphor. It's true. It's very true. So when you understand your language, you are projecting what works for you and what you like and which of those pillars that you choose is, which one that fits you. And hopefully that reciprocates to what you get back, because you understand that, hey, words of affirmation is more important to me than acts of service, or quality time is more important to me than receiving gifts. And that way you get to set yourself up with understanding a little more of the language, understanding a little more of the translations of the nonverbal communication. You know what I'm saying? The non-physical level of communication. And that, again, is a language you should learn. Quick example, my primary love language is quality time. My second one is physical touch. And I kept on thinking about that to myself, about, my past relationships and my current one right now. I noticed quality time and physical touch is very truthful about who I am, because quality time, I understand that I love to be independent. I love to be ambitious, very family oriented, and I understand that I'm looking for someone who has those same qualities, those same values. And again, knowing that they're busy, knowing that they're ambitious, knowing that they love what they do. I don't care if they are, a cashier at Walmart or a janitor or the CEO of their own business. I could care less what they make. It's all about them being passionate about what they do. So the fact that we can't have all that time together because we're so focused on our goals and aspirations, the quality time we do have together establishes everything for me. You know what I mean? And not only when we have that quality time, that physical touch. I haven't seen you in a while. I love just holding you, holding your hand, just falling asleep in that cuddling, comfortable position, until your arm falls asleep. So to me, I knew right away, I was like, wow, my quality time and physical touch are my primary, secondary love languages. That really shows what kind of woman I'm looking for. Someone who has those same values of their quality time, someone who appreciates physical touch as well. And it's interesting because it's in language, again, that's not about being right or wrong. Just, again, bringing more clarity to who you are and what you're looking for. So what is your love language? Number 3. But before we start, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button? I would really appreciate your subscription, as well as a nice like. I would love for you to hit the like button and share this video to anyone who you think might benefit from it, as well as leave any comments or any questions. Again, I would love to see and read your input on this specific topic. All right, here we go. Number 3. What are your standards and expectations? Again, those all line up with your values and your morals. So, what are your standards? What are your expectations? Are you looking for someone who's, let's say, example for myself, someone who's family oriented? Are religious beliefs a big factor into finding someone with the same standards of that? Or let's say same political views? Personal motivation. Do you like someone who's really ambitious, or someone who's like a couch potato like yourself? Whatever it is, doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong approach or identity where you want to start. It's all about being truthful. So even if you are a lazy couch potato, we want to find you the best couch potato that fits your couch. But if you're also more of an ambitious person who loves to be a go-getter, got some big goals, family-oriented, very religious, or very political, you want to find someone who has those same level of standards, who respect those level of values and morals as you do. So being clear, not just your value of who you are, but understanding what's important to who you are. Your standards, your values, your morals, your integrity. Those topics that really, I don't want to say are black or white, but those are kind of like deal breakers in a way. I want someone who's family oriented, who's looking to have, kids, because I would love to have kids one day. And if they don't feel that same way, then that's a huge standard that you're going to be disappointed on those expectations to meet up that's not really ever going to meet up. So you want to be clear with that in the very beginning. When you establish that clarity of knowing what your standards and expectations are, it really sets you up in that same outlook of goals, that same outlook in life, same outlook in the future of what you're trying to grow with someone. So again, you're taking a little bit of work in the beginning, set yourself up in a playing field of the game, love, to play with someone who's trying to play at the same speed. Again, it's not about winning or losing, but playing with the partner who's at the same pace, same page, same outlook, same standards of knowing where you are in life and knowing what's important to go get together in life. So you either want to put in this work in the beginning of knowing your standards and expectations and laying them out on the table for yourself to look at them. Because if you don't do that now, you're going to, again, not always guaranteed, but I always see this so many times, you're going into a relationship where you're trying to convince, persuade, sell the idea of your standards, your expectations. How could she do that? I would never do that to someone. Well, did you really evaluate what your standards are? I can't believe that she doesn't want to have kids. Or let's say, doesn't believe in my religion. Man, we're going to bump heads forever. Well, again, you didn't take the time to work on those things from the beginning. Those conversations, those monumental standards of life, not necessarily just love or relationship, should be identified, should be owned, should be strongly confident about saying, I like this kind of lifestyle, which is not really fits your lifestyle because we have different values and morals. We had a different upbringing. We don't value religion. We don't value work. We don't value family. Again, you're trying to compromise your standards to convince and persuade someone else that this is the way to go. This is the way to date. This is the way to love me. And that, again, is going to take more work on trying to convince someone of that than doing a little bit of work in the beginning and trying to prevent that. So which one would you prefer? When you do this, when you put in this work of standards and expectations from day one, you really set yourself up for realistic expectations, which leads to a realistic relationship, which again concludes to real love. Being clear with your standards and expectations. Again, a part of knowing who you are. Again, self-evaluating who you are, self-reflecting on who you are. What's important to you? What standards are important to you? What's your integrity? What's your value? What's your morals? What's your expectations in this relationship? Be clear with that now before you have to try to convince someone down the road. Trust me, you'd rather have that work in the beginning, not the one in the middle. Number 4, do you know what you don't want? Again, that's a ripple effect of everything we talked prior to this, about your value, knowing who you are, your standards and expectations. But again, being clear of knowing what you don't want prevents the games. So establishing who you are, knowing yourself, knowing your standards, knowing your expectations is giving yourself so much more, not just peace, but more of an enjoyable journey of trying to find the love within that realm of worlds, the realm of attributes and personality traits and characteristics of who you are. That's beautiful, but it's also just as valuable to know exactly what you don't want. And that way you don't waste your time. Be establishing your standards and values and morals from the beginning, knowing your value from the beginning. Then you really separate knowing I don't even want to waste my time with someone who doesn't see that, someone who doesn't know who they are, someone I don't want to get to know in a way. You're looking at it where, for example, a couple of clients of mine, if they keep on striking out with someone who's in line with what they have, in line with their standards and morals, and it doesn't work out, I know personally how disappointed or frustrated they can be. But you are truly getting closer and closer to finding that real love. Timing is just key. Timing is everything. Because you're really striking out, but these are valuable strikeouts because you're truly getting closer. Which is compared to the opposite. Striking out on the opposite, where you're wondering, I don't know what happened. We just got too upset at each other and we both blew up and became a toxic versions of ourselves and literally drained who we are. That level of striking out is basically saying you're not even taking the right approach to the relationship. You haven't really put in the work on yourself and you really haven't evaluated who that person is. So you're just trying to go with the flow and find out just by winging it, which is fine, but it's going to take more work. So again, you're trying to prevent all that work and headache and stress that could be caused in the middle of the relationship or in the beginning or even at the end by doing a little bit more work for yourself in the beginning, being clear with what you don't want. So here's a couple of common examples here from my clients on finding out what you don't want. Here's the one I hear all the time. I could fix him. I could fix him. I could save him. I could be his hero. I can mold him. I could sculpt him into this prince, you know? No. All those thoughts and tendencies of trying to fix someone is basically not a red flag, but it's shouting at you that this person isn't ready to date. This person isn't taking the time seriously for themselves or for yourself. And they really haven't healed from the past relationship or from whatever past personal problems. You don't want to have to fix someone. You want to have someone who's ready to understand that love is going to take work and that you want someone who's just as committed as you are. So in trying to find someone who's emotionally unavailable, that should be clear that you want to be with someone who is emotionally available. So if you're trying to convince someone who is not there mentally, emotionally, physically, that should be clear that I don't want to date someone who just got out of a relationship. I don't want to date someone who's still hung up on their ex. I don't want to date someone who's basically trying to treat me like a friends with benefits or like a booty call kind of attitude. Those are clear statements of knowing what you don't want. So you don't have to waste your time trying to settle into something you don't even want from the beginning. Again, with your values, your standards, your morals, and all that. Be clear with what you don't want. Don't try to say you want someone serious and you want a good person, but you keep on going to bars and clubs and wondering why you can't find that person. Because you're internally telling yourself, I want someone good. I want a good guy. You're not going to really find that in those environments. Be clear and be honest with yourself. If you want something established that's pure, authentic, organic, and something that's just beautifully awesome to be a part of, set yourself up in that way by being clear with knowing what you don't want, what you don't compromise with, what you don't settle for, what you don't want to be persuaded as, what you don't want to have to settle and convince who you are to someone who you never even want in the beginning, but you just love that chase. You love that ego to saying, yeah, I got him. Yeah, I got her. Yeah. Then you're just going to have to eventually confront all this unknown, unestablished work of we have nothing in common. We have nothing, goals in line. We don't really get along. And, but I'm going to make this work. I'm going to fix him. I'm going to fix her. No, stop being the hero and save everybody. Save yourself. Be the hero for yourself. Establish who you are and who you're not. Be clear with what you don't want. And finally, number 5. But before we finish with number 5, why don't we hit that subscribe button? You know, I'm going to be very persistent on this one. Please hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate your subscription as well as a nice like. And again, share this video to anyone who you think that might benefit from it, as well as leaving a comment. Again, I would love to read your input on this topic. So let's finish up. Here we go. Number 5. Be the right person for yourself. Are you? Again, that has to do with being emotionally compatible with someone, being the right person for yourself. Let me explain. Are you at a place in your life where you're willing to give love and not expect anything back? Are you at a stable place emotionally where you understand love is giving, lust is taking? So you're giving love because you're not expecting anything back, because you know inside you're at a good, stable place where your expectations for it back don't define you, just compliments you. And that's a huge outlook on life, knowing that love is going to complement you, not define you. Let me elaborate on this. That infamous scene in Jerry Maguire. At the very end, we all know, you complete me. Yes, that ruined a lot of people. That confused so many people in the dating world of love because yes, it's romantic. You complete me. Yes, it's sentimental. Yes, it's charming. Yes, it's cute. It's adorable. You complete me. But you don't want someone to complete you. That's the wrong attitude. You want to be able to try your best attempt to complete yourself. And that way, you know yourself, you know who you are, who you're not, you know your standards and expectations, you know what you're not looking for. You're completing yourself to the fullest level. Not that you'll ever be fully complete and perfect, because that's not the goal. It's the idea of taking the work to understand yourself. So when you have the time to really put the work in and understanding to complete yourself, or the best way you can, the love you receive complements that, complements you. Doesn't define you. Doesn't define your purpose in life. It complements that. It brings more stability to a very vulnerable world of love. Again, be the right person of yourself. So here are two cool examples how to apply to yourself and to the relationship to bring as much emotional compatibility to the world of love. First one is one of my favorites, I'd say. I love it, and I practice it daily. The mirror theory. What does the mirror theory mean? Well, if I want a respectful, healthy person, a nice, respectful, healthy woman, I have to be respectful and healthy towards myself. If I'm looking for someone who communicates well and is considerate and, let's say, open and confident about what they're looking for in life, then I should be that myself. Being the mirror theory is about projecting. If you want something in someone else, why don't you show it first? When you don't apply this mirror theory into yourself, you're just literally just taking whatever you can get. And if that's your intention, if that's what you want, okay, no problem. Again, we're not here to judge. I don't judge anyone. But don't be coming back to me about saying, how come I can't find love? Because you're not being clear with what you have to offer or what kind of person you're looking for by just taking whatever you can get. Just taking, and just wondering, I have no identity. I don't know what's important to me. I just like the way he makes me feel and the way he spoils me. And that's just all the love I need. It's very shallow. It's not very realistic, and it's not going to last long. You want to be able to be aware of who you are and be the fact that if you want those nice, beautiful qualities in someone else, do that for yourself first. Take the time to date yourself, romance yourself, self-respect. You set yourself up with those standards for yourself that you always put so highly on someone else. That really shows the level of commitment that you're willing to put into work. So it avoids the games. That equates to emotional compatibility. Let me explain, because when you start with that awareness of knowing what you're looking for and practicing it on yourself in that mirror theory, that just avoids those voids. No, it's actually true. Avoid those voids of validation, reassurance, justification about something. You don't have to worry about those insecurities and doubts because you practice it on yourself and you're looking for it in someone else. So if you're just taking what someone gives you, you're constantly going to be needing that justification, that reassurance, that validation to feel loved, because you're not really practicing projecting anything on your own. You're just taking, again, from someone who's just willing to give. And that's just like a one-way relationship, which is not going to last. If you want something in someone, give it before receiving it. All right? The mirror theory. And the other example would be for emotional compatibility, outside of mirror theory, being open to discuss your thoughts, your needs, your fears, and your beliefs. And again, it's not going to happen so soon in a relationship. This is going to obviously apply to everything else prior we talked about was established and is working, where you feel comfortable and confident enough to express these doubts and fears and insecurities. Because, listen, no one's perfect. No one is perfect, and you'll never have a perfect relationship. But you want to be able to express what is something that you don't like about yourself or something that you're trying to work on. And I know that kind of seems like you're implying weakness. It's actually the opposite. You're implying strength. You're aware of your imperfections. You're aware of your flaws and your weaknesses. And you're expressing it to someone who you hope they not only respect, but they take the time to understand so they can get to know your language more and not basically bump the same head and be aware of anything prepared to say, hey, she did mention she hates public speaking. So maybe I should take it easy on trying to set up that scenario. Or he did say he gets real nervous with, a lot of people in one room. He's kind of a isolated individual. These are things that aren't necessarily supposed to be flattering or something that we're supposed to be love the fact that who we are. We're just trying to express our true identity. We all have imperfections that we want to be open with. We all have flaws and insecurities and doubts that we want to be confident enough to express. So when you have someone who just not only respects that, but takes the time to apply that to the relationship, then you really know, like, wow, everything we talked about prior to this, the 1, 2, 3, 4, everything's flowing, everything is connecting, everything's bonding. And I could still talk about my mistakes. I could still talk about my flaws. I could still talk about my weaknesses. And hopefully that person just only uplifts those and not uses those against you. And that way you get to see what kind of response is someone going to understand that if you're not on your best day, if you're that honeymoon phase of the first few months of a relationship is kind of over with, and you start to, let's say, be more realistic, be honest with who you are, and they're still there, with the flaws, with the doubts, with the insecurities, then you really have something bigger than love. You have a life partner, because that's who you want at the end of the day, someone who's willing to choose to fight the battles with you. After everything's already established, though, standards, values, morals, integrity, all those things are established, and still know that at the top of all that, we still have little things that we can work on. And to be open and confident with someone to share that with is a beautiful connection. To know that, hey, I got your back. When you're down, I'm up. I got you. Don't worry, I got you this time. Take the day off. You really want to be expressive with those things, not hide them. Don't mask them. Those imperfections actually make you perfect in the way of just being honest of who you are, the perfect version of yourself. That vulnerable compatibility of understanding each other's strengths and weaknesses really does produce a more solid foundation of real love, which will give you real problems, which will come from real people. So again, being real with yourself and knowing what you can work on and being open with someone with that really develops just an envious amount of love that you're like, I could be my true version of myself, and this person loves me for me. And that's just irreplaceable. So in conclusion, real love will find you when you're ready for it. Real love will find you when you're ready to put the work into it. Real love will find you when you're ready to be honest with yourself, when you're ready to be self-aware of who you are and who you're not. Real love is out there. You just have to put a little work into it now in the beginning and prevent all that work and headache and stress of the work in the middle of the relationship. So set yourself up for the best opportunity, for the best chances of finding real love. When you do this, you will thrive in peace and clarity coming from love. You evolve and grow with the humility and gratitude of the love you received from someone special. Because that love doesn't define you. It complements you. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube video. I had a blast talking about this topic. Again, one more pitch. Why don't you hit that subscribe button one more time? Or if you haven't done it, just do it anyways. And I would appreciate any likes, any comments or questions that you have, anything that concerns you. I would love to hear what you have to say. Again, my name is Coach Andres, head coach of Alexander Cormont at the French Relationship Expert. If you're interested in any sessions, you can look at the FrenchRelationshipExpert.com/coaching and you'll see my profile there. Thank you again for watching, and you all have a great